The morning sky over Kepler Station burned red with enemy ships. Commander Hyunwoo Park stood on the observation deck, watching the alien fleets circle overhead like hungry wolves. 3 weeks had passed since the first Veilth warship appeared. In their system, now 47 of them blocked out the stars. "Sir, they're moving into attack formation again," said Communications Officer Gina Choi from her station. Her voice stayed steady, but Park could see the fear in her young eyes. She had been fresh out of the academy when she arrived at this mining colony 6 months ago. Now she might die here. Park nodded and activated the colony-wide comm system. "All civilians to the inner shelters, security teams to defensive positions. This is not a drill." The warning sirens began to wail across Kepler Station. Families grabbed their emergency packs and ran toward the reinforced bunkers built deep into the rocky ground. Children cried as their parents carried them to safety. The miners who had come here looking for a better life now faced something worse than death. Chief Engineer So-Min Lee appeared at Park's side, her uniform dirty from crawling through maintenance tunnels all morning. "I've finished rigging the outer buildings with explosives," she said. "If they breach the perimeter, we can blow the bridges and slow them down." "Good work," Park replied. He had only 30 security guards to defend 847 people. The math was simple and terrifying. Each guard would have to fight off hundreds of aliens to save the civilians hiding below. Medical Officer Tae-Ho Kim rushed past them, carrying supplies to the emergency medical station. "Commander, I need more hands in the medical bay," he called. "Out. We're setting up surgery rooms in case—" He didn't finish the sentence. They all knew what came next. Park looked out at the mining equipment scattered across the colony's surface. Massive drilling machines and ore processors sat silent, abandoned by the workers who built this place with their own hands. Now it would become a battlefield. The first Veilth dropships appeared as black dots against the red sky. They moved like living things, their biomechanical hulls pulsing with alien energy. Park had seen the intelligence reports about these creatures. 8 feet tall, covered in natural armor with energy weapons grafted to their arms. They were bred for war. "Contacts incoming," Gina announced. 20 dropships heading for the outer perimeter. Park grabbed his rifle and checked the power. Cell. Fully charged. He had enough shots for maybe 50 aliens before the weapon ran dry. After that, he would use his sidearm until that ran empty too. Then he would fight with his bare hands if necessary. These people were his responsibility. The first dropship landed near the water treatment plant with a sound like thunder. The biomechanical door split open and Veilth warriors poured out. They moved fast despite their size, their 6 legs carrying them across the rocky ground in smooth, deadly strides. Energy bolts began flashing through the air. "All units, weapons, free," Park ordered into his comm. "Make every shot count." Security guard Woo Jin Lim took cover behind a mining truck and opened fire. His plasma rifle sent blue bolts racing toward the aliens. One warrior stumbled but kept coming. These things were tough. Woo Jin's daughter Hai Rin was hiding in the bunkers below, counting on him to keep her safe. More dropships landed around the colony's edge. The Veilth warriors spread out in perfect formation, advancing on all sides at once. They had done this before on other worlds. Park realized this wasn't just an attack. It was an extermination. Engineer Lee triggered the first set of charges. The main bridge connecting the outer buildings to the central complex exploded in a shower of metal and rock. The blast took out a squad of advancing aliens, but dozens more kept coming through the smoke and debris. "They're trying to surround us," called out Security Chief Min-Ho Jung over the radio. His team held the north wall, but Park could hear the strain in his voice. "We need to fall back to the inner perimeter." Park made the hard decision. "All outer positions, begin tactical withdrawal. Fall back to the central complex. Use the tunnels where possible." The security teams began their fighting retreat, moving from cover to cover as alien energy bolts scorched the ground around them. Some didn't make it. Park watched good people fall and forced himself to keep moving. He couldn't save everyone, but he could still save some. Dr. Kim's voice crackled over the comm. "Medical to all units. We have wounded coming in through tunnel. 7. I need stretcher teams now." The battle raged for 6 hours. The humans gave ground slowly, making the aliens pay for every meter with their own blood. Engineer Lee used the mining equipment like weapons, dropping ore containers on advancing warriors and using the drill platforms as improvised bunkers. As night fell over Kepler Station, Park found himself in the central command room with his remaining forces. They had lost 12 guards, but the civilians were still safe in the deep bunkers. For now, Communications Officer Gina worked frantically at her station, trying to punch a signal through the alien jamming. "Sir, I'm getting fragments of a message through the quantum relay," she said. "Earth Command knows we're here." "Can you get a clear signal out?" Park asked. "Maybe, but only for a few seconds before they block it again." Park thought about the 847 people counting on him. His guards were running low on ammunition. The aliens would attack again at dawn, and this time they might break through. He had one chance to call for help. "Send this message," he told Gina. "Kepler Station surrounded. Population 84. 7. Request immediate assistance. We can hold for 72 hours maximum." Gina's fingers flew over her controls. The quantum relay powered up, sending a tight beam transmission toward Earth at faster than light speed. For 3 seconds, the signal stayed strong. Then the aliens found it and cut it off. "Message sent," Gina reported. Park nodded. Now they could only wait and fight. Earth was 12 light years away. Even the fastest ships would take a week to get here. The colonists didn't have a week. Outside, the Veilth warriors regrouped for their next assault. Their leader, a massive creature called Thex 9, studied the human defenses with cold intelligence. These humans fought better than expected, but they were still just primitive mammals. By dawn, they would all be dead or captured. But Thex 9 had made one mistake. He thought humans were just another weak species to be harvested. He had never met Earth's best warriors. He had never seen what happened when humanity's elite soldiers heard that their people were in danger. Deep in space, 12 light years away, a quantum signal reached Earth Command. Fleet Admiral Dong Hyun Yoon read the message twice, then reached, "For his emergency comm unit. Get me the 1st Shock Troop Division," he said. "We have people who need saving." Commander Hyunwoo Park crouched behind an overturned mining truck, watching alien warriors advance through the morning mist. The Veilth had spent the night probing their defenses, testing for weak spots. Now they were ready for their final assault. "Contact North Wall," came Security Chief Min-ho Jung's voice over the radio. "Multiple hostiles moving through the processing plant." Park could see them too. The 8-foot-tall creatures moved like predatory insects, their biomechanical armor gleaming in the pale sunlight. Energy weapons grew from their arms like natural parts of their bodies. They had been bred for war, and it showed in every precise movement. "All units, prepare for heavy contact," Park announced. He checked his rifle's power cell. 30 shots left. After that, he would switch to his sidearm, then to the combat knife at his belt. He would fight until the end. Engineer So-Min Lee had worked through the night, turning the mining station into a fortress. Ore containers formed improvised barriers. Drilling platforms became sniper positions. She had rigged every outer building, with explosives, ready to bring them down on advancing enemies. "Commander, the main processing unit is ready to blow," she reported from her position near the power plant. "Just give the word." The aliens reached the outer perimeter and began their coordinated assault. Energy bolts filled the air like deadly lightning. The human defenders returned fire, their plasma rifles carving bright lines through the mist. Several Velth warriors fell, but more kept coming. Private Wu Jin Lim steadied his rifle against a concrete barrier and picked his targets carefully. Each shot had to count. His daughter Hae Rin was hiding in the deep bunkers with the other civilians, trusting him to keep her safe. He would not let her down. A massive Velth warrior charged his position, energy weapon blazing. Wu Jin put 3 shots into its center mass before the creature stumbled and fell. Green fluid leaked from the wounds, but he couldn't tell if it was blood or some kind of mechanical coolant. "They're breaking through on the east side," called Guard Captain Jun-Ho Kim. His voice was strained from hours of continuous fighting. "I need reinforcements." Park looked around the command post. He had 15 guards left, scattered across 3 kilometers of perimeter. There were no reinforcements to send. "Fall back to secondary positions," he ordered. "Fight from the tunnel. Entrances." Dr. Tae-Ho Kim worked frantically in the underground medical station, treating wounded soldiers as they were carried down from the surface. Burns from energy weapons, broken bones from explosions, cuts from flying debris. He had trained as a colonial medic, not a battlefield surgeon, but he did his best. "Doctor, we need more pain medication," called Nurse Eugene Seo. She had volunteered to help when the regular medical staff proved insufficient. "Guard Park has 3rd-degree burns on his left arm." "Use what we have," Dr. Kim replied. "Save the strong stuff for the worst cases." He looked around at the wounded men and women filling his improvised hospital. These people had signed up to guard a mining colony, not fight a war against alien invaders. But they fought anyway, because 800 civilians were counting on them. Above ground, the battle raged through the industrial complex. Engineer Lee triggered another set of explosives, bringing down a conveyor bridge on top of advancing aliens. The blast echoed through the canyons like thunder, sending rock and metal fragments in all directions. "Got them," she said with grim satisfaction. But more warriors were already moving around the debris, finding new paths through the ruins. Communications Officer Gina Choi hunched over her equipment in the command bunker, trying to maintain contact with all the scattered defensive positions. The alien jamming made communication difficult, but she managed to relay orders and coordinate the defense. "Commander, I'm reading massive energy buildup from the alien fleet," she reported. "They might be preparing for orbital bombardment." Park felt ice form in his stomach. If the aliens started shooting from space, the bunkers might not protect the civilians. He had to buy more time somehow. "Signal all positions," he ordered. "We're pulling back to the central complex. Use the maintenance tunnels. Move the wounded first." The tactical withdrawal began under cover of Engineer Lee's demolitions. Each time the aliens advanced, another explosion blocked their path or collapsed a building on their heads. But there were so many of them, and they kept coming. Guard Sergeant Dae-Ho Yoon led a team through the underground tunnels, carrying wounded soldiers to safety. The narrow passages were not designed for combat, but they provided cover from alien energy weapons. His team moved quickly, knowing that every minute counted. "Sergeant, we have civilians trying to reach the surface," reported one of his soldiers. A family got separated during the evacuation. Yoon checked his ammunition. 8 shots left. Show me where. They found the family trapped in a storage room near the outer complex. A father, mother, and 2 young children huddled together while energy bolts flashed past the doorway. Yoon's team formed a protective corridor and evacuated them to the deep bunkers. As the sun reached its peak, the human defenders had been pushed back to their final positions. The central complex was surrounded, with aliens advancing from all sides. Park realized they had maybe 2 hours before the perimeter collapsed completely. "Sir, incoming transmission," Gina announced suddenly. "It's fragmentary, but I think it's from Earth." Park leaned over her shoulder as she worked to clean up the signal. Through the static and interference, a few words came through clearly. "Cavalry incoming. Hold fast." "Earth Command knows we're here," Gina said, her voice filled with hope. "Help is coming." Park looked around at his exhausted defenders. They had been fighting for 18 hours straight. Many were wounded. All were running low on ammunition. But now they had something more precious than weapons. They had hope. "Listen. Up, people," he announced over the comm system. "Earth has received our message. Reinforcements are on the way. We just have to hold out a little longer." The news spread through the bunkers like wildfire. Civilians who had been preparing for death began to believe they might see their families again. Guards who had been ready to make their last stand found new strength to continue fighting. But the aliens were also preparing for their final assault. Thex 9, the Vielth commander, studied the human defensive positions through his biomechanical sensors. These mammals fought better than expected, but they were nearly finished. One more push would end the resistance. "All warrior pods, advance to final positions," he ordered. "Kill the defenders. Capture the civilians for harvesting." The last battle for Kepler Station was about to begin. In the deep bunkers, 800 civilians waited and prayed. On the surface, 30 human guards prepared to sell their lives as expensively as possible. High above, the alien fleet maintained its blockade, confident that no rescue could penetrate their defenses. They had fought many species across the galaxy. Humans were just another entry in their catalog of conquered worlds. But 12 light-years away, a stealth frigate raced through hyperspace at maximum speed. In its cargo hold, 48 enhanced warriors checked their weapons one final time. They had trained their entire adult lives for missions like this. The aliens had never faced Earth's shock troops before. They were about to learn why humanity's elite soldiers were considered the most dangerous warriors in known space. The silent thunder dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system, its stealth hull invisible against the star-scattered darkness. Captain Sun-Ho Kang stood on the bridge beside Ship Captain Yoon-Sik Lee, studying the tactical display that showed their target. "Mother of Earth," whispered Private Yoon-Ji-nam as she looked at the sensor readings. 47 warships in perfect blockade formation. The alien fleet surrounded Kepler Station's planet like a deadly necklace. Each ship was massive, their biomechanical hulls pulsing with organic energy. They had positioned themselves to intercept any rescue attempt from any possible direction. "Standard tactical doctrine would call for a fleet engagement," observed Lieutenant Bo-Ra Shin. "At least 100 ships to have a chance against those odds." Captain Kang nodded grimly. Any conventional rescue would be suicide. The Velth had overwhelming firepower and complete space superiority. But the shock troops were not a conventional force. "Captain Lee, how close can you get us to the planet without being detected?" Kang asked. Ship Captain Lee consulted his navigation computer. "The stealth field will hide us from most sensors, but we'll have to thread between their patrol routes. One mistake, and they'll see us coming. Then don't make any mistakes, Kang replied simply. The silent thunder began its approach, moving like a ghost through the alien formation. The experimental cloaking system bent light and energy around the ship's hull, making it nearly invisible. But stealth technology had limits, and the Velth sensors were more advanced than human scientists had expected. Sergeant Mi-Young-Han studied the alien ship positions through her enhanced eyes. Years of training had taught her to see patterns that normal humans would miss. Captain, there's a gap in their formation at bearing 27 Mark IV. If we approach from the planet's shadow, we might slip through undetected. I see it, Captain Lee confirmed. Adjusting course. The frigate altered its trajectory, using the planet's gravity well to mask its approach. Every few minutes, an alien patrol ship would pass close enough to touch, their biomechanical hulls sliding through space like living creatures. The shock troops held their breath and waited. "Sir, I'm detecting communication signals from the surface," reported Private. "Nam, the colony is still transmitting on emergency frequencies." Kang felt a moment of relief. After 3 days of travel, he had feared they might arrive too late. "Can you establish contact?" "The alien jamming is too strong for normal communications, but I might be able to punch through with a tight beam transmission." "Do it. Let them know help is coming." Nam's enhanced nervous system allowed her to process communication data faster than any normal human. Her fingers danced across the control panel, finding gaps in the alien jamming and exploiting them with computer-like precision. "Message sent, sir. Response incoming. They confirm 847 civilians still alive, but they're down to their last defensive positions." Corporal Jae Sung-won checked his sniper rifle's targeting system. "How long until we're in drop range?" 20 minutes, Captain Lee replied. "But once we launch the pods, every alien in the system will know we're here." Kang activated the ship's internal comm. "All shock troops prepare for combat drop, full battle gear. This is the real thing, people." Throughout the ship, enhanced warriors made their final preparations. Private Kyung-min loaded armor-piercing rounds into his assault rifle. Corporal In-ho Bae activated his enhanced vision systems. Lieutenant Chang-ho Seo reviewed tactical data on Velth combat capabilities. Each soldier had undergone years of genetic modification, cybernetic enhancement, and psychological conditioning. They were faster, stronger, and smarter than normal humans. But most importantly, they had been trained to function as a unit, each warrior complementing the other's abilities. "Beta Squad, report readiness," ordered Lieutenant Shin. "Weapon systems green," replied Corporal Min-jun Park. "Communications array active," added Private Sung-ho Lee. "Demolitions package secured," confirmed Private So-young Kim. One by one, the shock troops entered their drop pods. Each pod was a marvel of engineering. Heat-shielded for atmospheric entry, equipped with maneuvering thrusters, and armed with defensive weapons. They were designed to deliver a single soldier anywhere on a planet's surface, no matter how hostile the environment. "Drop zone confirmed," announced Captain Lee. "Central courtyard of the mining complex. I'm reading heavy enemy activity in the area." "Perfect," Kang replied as he sealed his pod's hatch. "We wouldn't want this to be easy." The silent thunder continued its silent approach to the planet. Through the viewports, the shock troops could see the surface battles raging below. Energy bolts flashed like lightning in the pre-dawn darkness. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers across the mining complex. "Launching in 60 seconds, Captain Lee announced. Kang opened a channel to all drop pods. "Remember your training. We go in hard and fast. Secure the civilians first, then we hold until reinforcements arrive. Any questions? Silence answered him. These warriors had trained for impossible missions their entire adult lives. They knew what had to be done. 30 seconds, Lee called out. The ship's launch tubes opened, exposing the drop pods to space. Below them, the planet's atmosphere glowed with alien energy weapons. The colonists were fighting their last battle, surrounded by overwhelming enemy forces. 10 seconds, Lee announced. Good luck, shock troops. Bring our people home. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. 48 drop pods shot from the silent thunder like bullets from a rifle. They streaked toward the planet's surface, their heat shields glowing white-hot as they hit the atmosphere. Each pod contained a warrior trained to turn impossible odds into inevitable victory. The aliens detected the incoming objects immediately. Thex 9, the Velth commander, studied the sensor readings with cold interest. 48 objects. Too small for ships, too large for debris. Shall we intercept them? Asked his subordinate. Thex 9 considered the tactical situation. The human colony was about to fall. These objects might be some desperate attempt at reinforcement, but what could 48 humans do against thousands of warriors? Let them land, he decided. When they emerge, kill them all. It was the biggest mistake of his military career. The drop pods punched through the alien air patrols like meteors, their defensive systems automatically targeting any threats. Several Vyelth fighters tried to intercept them but were destroyed by the pod's built-in weapons. Touchdown in 30 seconds, announced Private Nam over the squad comm. I'm reading massive enemy forces converging on our landing zone. That's what we want, replied Sergeant Han grimly. Better they focus on us than the civilians. The pods slammed into Kepler Station's central courtyard with earth-shaking impacts. Dust and debris flew in all directions as 48 craters appeared across the battlefield. For a moment, silence fell across the combat zone. Then the pod hatches opened, and Earth's most elite warriors stepped onto the battlefield. Commander Park, crouched behind his improvised barricade, watched in amazement as armored figures emerged from the smoking craters. They moved with inhuman precision, their weapons already tracking targets before they were fully upright. "Who are you people?" he called out over the comm. Captain Kang's enhanced voice came back clear and strong. "Earth's 1st Shock Troop Division, Commander. We got your message." The tide of battle was about to turn. The aliens had never faced enhanced humans before. They were about to learn why Earth's children were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Captain Sun Ho Kang's drop pod hit the ground with the force of a small meteor, sending shockwaves through the rocky soil of Kepler Station's central courtyard. The impact crater was 3 meters wide and smoking hot, but Kang was already moving. Before the dust settled, his enhanced reflexes processed the battlefield in milliseconds. 37 Velth warriors advancing from the north, 15 more coming from the east. Human defenders pinned down behind improvised barriers, running low on ammunition and hope. The pod's hatch exploded outward, and Kang rolled onto the battlefield, with his assault rifle already tracking targets. His first shot took down a Vyelth warrior that had been about to finish off a wounded human guard. The alien's biomechanical armor meant nothing against armor-piercing rounds fired by enhanced human reflexes. All around him, other pods were opening like deadly flowers. Sergeant Mi Young Han emerged from her crater in a combat role, her demolitions, pack already armed and ready. Corporal Jae Sung Won rose from his pod with his sniper rifle scanning for high-value targets. Private Yoonji Nam activated her communications array before her feet touched solid ground. Commander Hyun-woo Park watched from behind an overturned mining truck as 48 warriors materialized from the smoke and fire. They moved like nothing he had ever seen, faster than human reflexes should allow, coordinated like a single organism, deadly beyond belief. "Earth forces on the ground," Kang announced over the comm. "All colonial defenders, identify your positions. We're here to get you out." Park keyed his radio with shaking hands. "This is Commander Park, Colonial Security. We have wounded in the command bunker, civilians in the deep shelters. The aliens have us completely surrounded." "Not anymore," Kang replied grimly. Lieutenant Bo Ra Shin's Beta Squad had landed near the eastern perimeter, where the aliens had been pressing their heaviest attack. Her enhanced vision systems immediately identified the enemy command structure and began targeting their leaders with surgical precision. "Multiple contacts, bearing 090, she reported calmly, even as energy bolts flashed around her. "Position. Initiating suppression protocol." Her squad moved like ghosts through the industrial wreckage, using every piece of cover with inhuman efficiency. Private Kyung-min Oh flanked left, while Corporal In-ho Bae moved right. In seconds, they had turned a hopeless defensive position into a killing field for the aliens. The Vilth warriors had been expecting to overrun broken human defenders. Instead, they found themselves facing enhanced soldiers whose reaction times were measured in milliseconds rather than seconds. Warriors who had been bred for combat discovered they were fighting humans who had been designed for war. Corporal Wan found an elevated position on a mining platform and began systematic elimination of Vilth commanders. His enhanced nervous system allowed him to process targeting data faster than most computers. Each shot was calculated for maximum tactical impact, removing leaders, disrupting formations, creating chaos in alien ranks. "Tango down, bearing 275, he reported over the squad comm. That was their artillery coordinator. Immediately, the alien energy barrages became less coordinated. Without central fire control, individual warriors began making targeting mistakes that the shock troops exploited ruthlessly. Engineer So-min Lee had been trying to rig one final explosive trap when she saw an armored figure appear beside her position. The soldier moved so smoothly that she barely registered his presence until he spoke. "Ma'am, I'm Corporal Park, 1st Shock Division," he said, his voice calm despite the battle raging around them. "Do you have any more charges we can use?" Lee stared at him in amazement. He was clearly human, but his movements were too fast, too precise. Yes, there are shaped charges in the supply bunker, but the aliens have it surrounded." "Not for long," Park replied. He activated his comm system. "Sergeant Han, I need a path to the supply bunker." Sergeant Han's voice came back immediately. "On it, Corporal. Initiating clearance protocol." A series of explosions erupted across the alien positions as Han's demolition charges detonated with perfect timing. The blasts created a corridor of destruction through the enemy formation, allowing Park and Lee to reach the supply bunker safely. Private Nam had established communication links with all the scattered colonial defenders, coordinating their movements with the shock troops' assault. Her enhanced processing capabilities allowed her to manage dozens of separate conversations while maintaining tactical awareness of the entire battlefield. "Commander Park, move your wounded to evacuation point Alpha," she directed. "Sergeant Yoon, pull your team back 50 meters to the secondary defensive line. Lieutenant Shin's squad will cover your withdrawal." Dr. Tae-ho Kim was treating wounded in the underground medical station when his comm system crackled to life. "Doctor, Kim, This is Lieutenant CO, 1st Shock Division. We're sending down wounded for treatment. How many can you handle? As many as you can send, Dr. Kim replied. But I should warn you, we're running low on medical supplies. Not anymore, CO replied. Each pod carries emergency medical equipment. We'll have supplies to you in 5 minutes. The battle above, ground, continued to rage, but now the tide was turning. The shock troops had broken the alien encirclement and were systematically destroying enemy positions. What had been a desperate last stand was becoming a tactical victory. Lieutenant Chang Ho Seo led Gamma Squad through the mining complex's maintenance tunnels, using the underground passages to outflank alien positions. His enhanced mind calculated, firing angles and movement patterns in real time, directing his soldiers with computer-like precision. Contact Tunnel 7, reported Private Lee. 6 hostiles, energy weapons, suppressing, replied CO. His squad moved through the narrow passages like liquid death, eliminating aliens with clinical efficiency. Each warrior knew exactly where the others were, their enhanced awareness creating perfect tactical coordination. Above ground, Captain Kang surveyed the changing battlefield. The aliens were beginning to realize they faced something unprecedented. These weren't normal human soldiers. They were enhanced warriors whose capabilities exceeded anything the Vielth had encountered before. All squads, report status, he commanded. Alpha Squad, positions secured, advancing on Objective 2, reported Sergeant Han. Beta Squad, eastern perimeter cleared, beginning extraction of wounded, came Lieutenant Shin's voice. Gamma Squad, tunnel network secured, enemy retreat routes cut, added Lieutenant CO. The colonial defenders watched in amazement as the impossible happened before their eyes. 48 soldiers were defeating thousands of alien warriors through superior training, enhanced abilities, and tactical brilliance that bordered on the supernatural. Security Chief Minho Young emerged from his bunker to find a shock trooper standing guard over his position. The soldier's armor showed scorch marks from energy weapons, but he stood ready for continued combat. "Sir, you and your men fought well," the trooper said. "Now let us finish this." Young nodded, unable to find words. He had been prepared to die, defending the colony. Instead, Earth's best warriors had answered his call for help and turned certain defeat into victory. But the battle was far from over. The aliens on the ground were being defeated, but the fleet in orbit was beginning to respond. Energy beams lanced down from space, targeting the areas where shock troops were operating most effectively. "All units, orbital bombardment incoming," Private Nam announced. "Seek hard cover immediately." The real test was just beginning. The shock troops had proven they could defeat ground forces, but now they had to survive the wrath of an entire battle fleet. And somewhere in the deep bunkers, 847 civilians were counting on them to succeed. The Velth had conquered 17 star systems. They had fought gas-breathing methane swimmers, crystalline rock-eaters, and energy beings that lived in stellar cores, but they had never encountered anything like Earth's shock troops. Thex 9 studied the battlefield reports from his command ship in growing disbelief. His ground forces were being systematically destroyed by 48 human soldiers. Warriors that had been bred for combat over thousands of generations were falling to these enhanced mammals at impossible rates. "How many humans did you say landed?" he asked his tactical coordinator. 48 confirmed contacts, came the reply. "But sir, they're moving faster than our targeting systems can track. Response times are measured in milliseconds. It's like they know what we're going to do before we do it." On the surface, Lieutenant Bo-Ra Shin demonstrated exactly what the alien meant. Her enhanced nervous system detected the energy buildup in a Velth warrior's weapon a split second before it fired. She was already moving before the trigger was pulled, the energy bolt passing through empty air where she had been standing. Her return shot took the alien center mass, the armor-piercing, round punching through biomechanical armor like it was paper. Enhanced humans didn't just move faster, they thought faster, processed information faster, and made tactical decisions faster than any species the Velth had ever encountered. Beta Squad, advancing on the water treatment plant, Shin reported calmly as energy bolts flashed around her position. Resistance is lighter than expected. Private Kyungmin Oh was making the resistance lighter. His enhanced reflexes allowed him to dodge incoming fire while placing his own shots with computer-like precision. A group of Vyelth warriors tried to surround his position, only to discover that he could track all of them simultaneously. "Contact left, contact right, contact center," he reported over the squad comm, his voice steady despite being outnumbered 10-1. Engaging multiple hostiles, his assault rifle fired in 3-round bursts, each group of shots perfectly aimed. 3 aliens fell in rapid succession, their biomechanical systems sparking as the armor-piercing rounds found vital components. The remaining warriors hesitated, suddenly realizing they were the ones being hunted. That hesitation cost them their lives. Oh moved like liquid lightning, flowing from cover to cover faster than their enhanced vision could track. By the time they tried to acquire new targets, he was already somewhere else, his rifle speaking with deadly accuracy. Corporal Inho Bay led a rescue team through the maintenance tunnels toward a group of trapped civilians. His enhanced vision could see in near-total darkness, allowing him to navigate the underground passages faster than the aliens pursuing them. "Civilians located," he reported. "Family of 4, hiding in storage compartment C7, moving to extract." The family, a father, mother, and 2 young children, had been trapped for hours while alien warriors searched the tunnels above them. They looked up in terror as the access hatch opened, expecting to see their alien captors. Instead, they saw a human soldier whose movements seemed impossibly fast and precise. "Sir, ma'am, I'm Corporal Bay, Earth Defense Forces. We're here to get you out." The father stared in amazement. "But how did you get here? The whole planet is surrounded." Bay helped them climb out of their hiding place, his enhanced strength, making it easy to lift even the adults. "That's what we do, sir. Earth doesn't abandon its people." While Bay evacuated civilians, Lieutenant Chang Ho Seo was demonstrating another aspect of enhanced human capabilities. His squad had encountered a Velth war machine, a 12-foot-tall biomechanical construct armed with heavy energy weapons. Normal human soldiers would have needed anti-tank weapons to deal with such a threat. SEO studied the machine for 3 seconds, his enhanced mind processing its movement patterns, armor thickness, and weapon systems. Then he smiled. "Plasma grenade, high arc, timer set for 2.7 seconds, he ordered Private Lee. "Target the ventilation intake on the left side." Lee's enhanced reflexes allowed him to make the throw with inhuman precision. The grenade sailed in a perfect arc, slipping through an opening barely 6 inches wide. The war machine had time to register the threat before the plasma charge detonated inside its control cavity. "Target neutralized," CO reported as the 12-foot monster collapsed in a shower of sparks and biomechanical fluid. Advancing to next objective. Engineer So-Min Lee watched the shock troops work with growing amazement. She had thought the mining equipment would be their best weapons against the aliens, but these enhanced soldiers were turning industrial machinery into tools of war with casual efficiency. "Corporal Park, can you help me rig the ore processor as a kinetic weapon?" she asked. Park studied the massive machine with enhanced vision that could analyze structural stress points in seconds. "Yes, ma'am. If we adjust the magnetic containment field and redirect the particle stream, we can turn it into a railgun." Working together, they modified the ore processor in minutes, a task that should have taken hours. Park's enhanced reflexes allowed him to work with dangerous high-energy systems that would have killed a normal human. When they finished, they had created a weapon capable of punching holes through alien armor at extreme range. Captain Kang coordinated the battle from the central command post, his enhanced mind processing information from dozens of sources simultaneously. Squad reports, civilian locations, alien movements, orbital bombardment patterns. He tracked it all with computer-like precision. "Sergeant Han, I need the northern approach clear in 5 minutes, he ordered. "Understood, sir," came Han's reply. "Beginning demolition sequence." A series of carefully placed explosions collapsed several buildings onto advancing alien forces, creating an impassable barrier of rubble and twisted metal. But more importantly, the blasts created a clear corridor for civilian evacuation. All colonial personnel, begin moving civilians to evacuation point Charlie, Kang announced over the comm system. Shock troops will provide escort and covering fire. Dr. Taeho Kim had never seen anything like the wounded shock troopers being brought to his medical station. They had injuries that should have been fatal, yet they continued fighting with minimal impairment. Enhanced healing factors, reinforced bone structure, and redundant organ systems made them incredibly difficult to kill. "Doctor, this soldier has a plasma burn that penetrated his armor," reported Nurse CO. "But he's still conscious and wants to return to combat." "Keep him sedated," Dr. Kim ordered. "Enhanced or not, he needs time to heal." But the soldier's enhanced metabolism was already beginning the repair process. What would take weeks for a normal human would be completed in hours. These warriors had been designed to keep fighting no matter what the enemy threw at them. Above the battlefield, the silent thunder had been detected by the alien fleet. Ship Captain Yoon-Sik Lee pushed his experimental vessel to its limits, using the planet's atmosphere to mask his energy signature while dodging orbital weapons fire. "Captain Kang, we've been compromised," he reported over the comm. "The fleet knows we're here. I can provide fire support for another 10 minutes before we have to jump out." "Understood," Kang replied. "Make those 10 minutes count." The stealth frigate's weapons might have been limited, but they were precisely targeted. Lee used his enhanced reflexes to thread shots between the orbital bombardment beams, striking alien ground support vessels with surgical precision. Meanwhile, the shock troops continued their systematic destruction of alien ground forces. What had begun as an impossible rescue mission was becoming a complete tactical victory. The enhanced warriors were proving that human ingenuity, training, and determination could overcome any odds when properly applied. But the aliens were learning too. Thex 9 had realized that conventional tactics would not work against these enhanced humans. If he wanted to win this battle, he would have to try something desperate. "All ships, prepare for atmospheric entry," he ordered. "We will land the entire fleet and overwhelm them with sheer numbers." It was exactly the kind of mistake that Earth's enhanced warriors had been trained to exploit. Captain Soon-Ho Kang watched the alien fleet begin atmospheric entry and smiled with grim satisfaction. The Vyelth commander had just made the worst tactical decision possible, bringing his entire fleet into range of enhanced human soldiers, who specialized in turning impossible situations into victories. "All squads, new priority targets incoming," he announced over the comm. 47 capital ships entering atmosphere. They're bringing the fight to us. Sergeant Mi-Young-Han looked up from the demolition charges she was preparing. Sir, that sounds like a lot of ships for 48 soldiers to handle. That's what they're counting on, Kang replied. They don't know what enhanced humans can do when we stop playing defense and go on the attack. The first alien warships descended through the clouds like falling mountains, their biomechanical hulls glowing with atmospheric friction. Each ship was over a kilometer long, armed with enough firepower to level a city, but they were also enormous targets moving in predictable patterns through thick atmosphere. Lieutenant Bo-Ra Shin studied the landing zones through her enhanced vision systems. Sir, they're setting down in the valley north of the mining complex. Terrain analysis shows multiple approach routes and good cover. Perfect, Kang said. Sergeant Han, how many charges do we have left? Enough to ruin their entire day, sir, Han replied, checking her demolitions inventory. Plus, Engineer Lee has been very generous with the mining explosives. Engineer So-Min Lee had spent the last hour converting every piece of industrial equipment into potential weapons. Ore processors became kinetic bombardment systems. Mining charges became improvised missiles. Even the water recycling system had been rigged to create chemical explosions. Captain, I can turn the main drilling platform into a mass driver, she reported. Give me 10 minutes and we'll have a weapon that can punch through capital ship. Armor! Do it, Kang ordered. Lieutenant Seo, take Gamma Squad and start marking targets for orbital strikes. Lieutenant Chang Ho Seo's enhanced mind was already calculating firing solutions for the modified industrial equipment. Understood, sir. We'll paint every ship that lands. The shock troops moved with inhuman coordination, each warrior knowing exactly what the others were doing without constant communication. Years of training and enhancement had created soldiers who functioned like parts of a single organism. Private Kyung-min. Oh found himself assigned to a mission that should have been suicide, infiltrating landed alien ships to plant demolition, charges inside their hulls. His enhanced agility allowed him to move through the ship's biomechanical corridors faster than the alien security systems could track. Inside the first target, he reported calmly, even as alien warriors searched for him just meters away. Placing charges on the power distribution network, his enhanced hearing could distinguish between different types of alien footsteps, allowing him to avoid patrols while locating critical systems. The Veilth had never designed their ships to resist infiltration by enhanced humans who could move, like ghosts, and think like computers. Corporal In-Ho Bay led a strike team against the alien command ship, using captured Veilth equipment to confuse their sensors. His enhanced reflexes allowed him to pilot alien shuttles better than their original crews, weaving between defensive fire with impossible precision. Approaching Target 2, he reported. Enemy fighters attempting intercept. The alien fighters moved fast, but not fast enough to match enhanced human reflexes. Bay twisted the shuttle through a series of evasive maneuvers that would have killed a normal pilot, using the captured craft's own weapons to destroy its former allies. Fighters neutralized, he announced as the last alien interceptor exploded, beginning insertion. Meanwhile, Corporal Jae-Sung-won had positioned himself on the highest point of the mining complex with a collection of captured alien weapons. His enhanced vision could track multiple targets simultaneously while calculating wind speed, atmospheric density, and gravitational effects. Target acquired, he announced calmly, lining up a shot on an alien ship's command bridge 2 kilometers away. Taking the shot! The captured energy weapon discharged with a sound like thunder. The bolt of concentrated plasma streaked across the valley and punched through the ship's armor, causing a series of internal explosions that lit up the alien vessel from within. "Bridge destroyed," Juan reported. "That ship is out of action. Doctor." Taeho Kim found himself treating not just human wounded, but captured alien equipment that the shock troops had converted for their own use. His medical knowledge helped him understand biomechanical systems well enough to keep captured weapons functioning. "Doctor, can you jury-rig this alien energy pack to work with our equipment?" asked Private Lee, carrying a Vaelth power cell that was still pulsing with organic energy. "Give me 5 minutes," Dr. Kim replied, studying the alien technology with enhanced perception that let him see connections invisible to normal humans. "I think I can adapt the bio-neural interface." The battle was becoming a masterclass in enhanced human capabilities. Every piece of alien equipment became a weapon in their hands. Every tactical advantage the aliens thought they possessed was turned against them by soldiers who could adapt and improvise faster than any enemy could respond. Communications Officer Gina Choi coordinated with Private Eunji Nam to establish communication links with the orbiting alien fleet. Nam's enhanced processing capabilities allowed her to break alien encryption in real time, while Choi's knowledge of the local systems helped target the most effective frequencies. "We're inside their communication network," Nam reported. "I can hear everything they're saying to each other." "What are they saying?" asked Commander Park, who was helping coordinate the Colonial Defense Forces. "They're panicking," Nam replied, with satisfaction. "They've never fought enhanced humans before. They don't understand how we can be everywhere at once." The aliens were learning that human enhancement involved more than just physical improvements. The shock troops' minds had been augmented to process information faster, make tactical decisions quicker, and coordinate complex operations with inhuman precision. Lieutenant Seo demonstrated this as he led his squad through a maze of alien defenses. His enhanced mind calculated the optimal path while simultaneously tracking enemy positions, friendly forces, and civilian evacuation routes. "Gamma Squad, advance on bearing 090, he ordered. "Alpha Team, suppressing fire on the left, flank. Beta Team, prepare for close assault." His soldiers moved like dancers, each one knowing exactly where to be and when. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move while executing maneuvers of impossible complexity. Engineer Lee's improvised mass driver came online just as the largest alien ship attempted to lift off. The modified drilling platform launched a tungsten mining probe at relativistic velocity, punching through the ship's hull like it was made of paper. "Direct hit on Target 7, she reported as the alien vessel crashed back to the ground in a shower of debris. Target neutralized. The tide of battle had completely reversed. What began as an alien invasion had become a systematic destruction of the Vaelth fleet by 48 enhanced human warriors. The aliens who had conquered 17 star systems found themselves outfought, outmaneuvered, and outsmarted by Earth's best soldiers, but the battle was reaching its climax. Thex 9, the Vaelth commander, realized his conventional forces were no match for these enhanced humans. In desperation, he activated his ship's self-destruct sequence, planning to take the entire mining colony with him in a final act of spite. "All units! Massive energy buildup detected," announced Private Nam urgently. "The command ship is going critical. Estimated yield equivalent to a nuclear weapon." Captain Kang looked at the tactical display, calculating distances and blast patterns with enhanced speed. The explosion would kill everyone on the surface, shock troops, colonists, and aliens alike. All personnel, immediate evacuation to the deep bunkers, he ordered. This is going to be close. But even as his soldiers rushed to save the civilians, Kang was formulating one final desperate plan. The aliens thought they could win through mutual destruction. They had forgotten that enhanced humans specialized in impossible victories. The Velth had conquered 17 star systems. They had fought gas-breathing methane swimmers, crystalline rock-eaters, and energy beings that lived in stellar cores. But they had never encountered anything like Earth's shock troops. Thex 9 studied the battlefield reports from his command ship in growing disbelief. His ground forces were being systematically destroyed by 48 human soldiers. Warriors that had been bred for combat over thousands of generations were falling to these enhanced mammals at impossible rates. "How many humans did you say landed?" he asked his tactical coordinator. 48 confirmed contacts, came the reply. "But sir, they're moving faster than our targeting systems can track. Response times are measured in milliseconds. It's like they know what we're going to do before we do it." On the surface, Lieutenant Bo-Ra Shin demonstrated exactly what the alien meant. Her enhanced nervous system detected the energy buildup in a Velth warrior's weapon a split second before it fired. She was already moving before the trigger was pulled, the energy bolt passing through empty air where she had been standing. Her return shot took the alien center mass, the armor piercing, round punching through biomechanical armor like it was paper. Enhanced humans didn't just move faster, they thought faster, processed information faster, and made tactical decisions faster than any species the Velth had ever encountered. "Beta Squad, advancing on the water treatment plant," Shin reported calmly as energy bolts flashed around her position. "Resistance is lighter than expected." Private Kyungmin Oh was making the resistance lighter. His enhanced reflexes allowed him to dodge incoming fire while placing his own shots with computer-like precision. A group of Velth warriors tried to surround his position, only to discover that he could track all of them simultaneously. "Contact left, contact right, contact center," he reported over the squad comm, his voice steady despite being outnumbered 10-1. "Engaging multiple hostiles." His assault rifle fired in 3-round bursts, each group of shots perfectly aimed. 3 aliens fell in rapid succession, their biomechanical systems sparking as the armor-piercing rounds found vital components. The remaining warriors hesitated, suddenly realizing they were the ones being hunted. That hesitation cost them their lives. Oh moved like liquid lightning, flowing from cover to cover faster than their enhanced vision could track. By the time they tried to acquire new targets, he was already somewhere else, his rifle speaking with deadly accuracy. Corporal In-Ho Bay led a rescue team through the maintenance tunnels toward a group of trapped civilians. His enhanced vision could see in near-total darkness, allowing him to navigate the underground passages faster than the aliens pursuing them. "Civilians located," he reported. "Family of 4, hiding in storage compartment C7, moving to extract." The family, a father, mother, and 2 young children, had been trapped for hours while alien warriors searched the tunnels above them. They looked up in terror as the access hatch opened, expecting to see their alien captors. Instead, they saw a human soldier whose movement seemed impossibly fast and precise. "Sir, ma'am, I'm Corporal Bay, Earth Defense Forces. We're here to get you out." The father stared in amazement. "But how did you get here? The whole planet is surrounded." Bay helped them climb out of their hiding place, his enhanced strength making it easy to lift even the adults. "That's what we do, sir. Earth doesn't abandon its people." While Bei evacuated civilians, Lieutenant Chang Ho Seo was demonstrating another aspect of enhanced human capabilities. His squad had encountered a Velth war machine, a 12-foot-tall biomechanical construct armed with heavy energy weapons. Normal human soldiers would have needed anti-tank weapons to deal with such a threat. SEO studied the machine for 3 seconds, his enhanced mind processing its movement patterns, armor thickness, and weapon systems. Then he smiled. "Plasma grenade, high arc, timer set for 2.7 seconds, he ordered privately. "Target the ventilation intake on the left side." Lee's enhanced reflexes allowed him to make the throw with inhuman precision. The grenade sailed in a perfect arc, slipping through an opening barely 6 inches wide. The war machine had time to register the threat before the plasma charge detonated inside its control cavity. "Target neutralized," CEO reported as the 12-foot monster collapsed in a shower of sparks and biomechanical fluid. Advancing to next objective, Engineer So-Min Lee watched the shock troops work with growing amazement. She had thought the mining equipment would be their best weapons against the aliens. But these enhanced soldiers were turning industrial machinery into tools of war with casual efficiency. "Corporal Park, can you help me rig the ore processor as a kinetic weapon?" she asked. Park studied the massive machine with enhanced vision that could analyze structural stress points in seconds. "Yes, ma'am. If we adjust the magnetic containment field and redirect the particle stream, we can turn it into a railgun." Working together, they modified the ore processor in minutes, a task that should have taken hours. Park's enhanced reflexes allowed him to work with dangerous high-energy systems that would have killed a normal human. When they finished, they had created a weapon capable of punching holes through alien armor at extreme range. Captain Kang coordinated the battle from the central command post, his enhanced mind processing information from dozens of sources simultaneously. Squad reports, civilian locations, alien movements, orbital bombardment patterns, he tracked it all with computer-like precision. "Sergeant Han, I need the northern approach clear in 5 minutes, he ordered. "Understood, sir," came Han's reply. "Beginning demolition sequence." A series of carefully placed explosions collapsed several buildings onto advancing alien forces, creating an impassable barrier of rubble and twisted metal. But more importantly, the blasts created a clear corridor for civilian evacuation. "All colonial personnel, begin moving civilians to evacuation point Charlie," Kang announced over the comm system. "Shock troops will provide escort and covering fire." Dr. Tae-ho Kim had never seen anything like the wounded shock troopers being brought to his medical station. They had injuries that should have been fatal, yet they continued fighting with minimal impairment. Enhanced healing factors, reinforced bone structure, and redundant organ systems made them incredibly difficult to kill. "Doctor, this soldier has a plasma burn that penetrated his armor," reported Nurse Seo. "But he's still conscious and wants to return to combat." "Keep him sedated," Dr. Kim ordered. "Enhanced or not, he needs time to heal." But the soldier's enhanced metabolism was already beginning the repair process. What would take weeks for a normal human would be completed in hours. These warriors had been designed to keep fighting no matter what the enemy threw at them. Above the battlefield, the silent thunder had been detected by the alien fleet. Ship Captain Yoon-Sik Lee pushed his experimental vessel to its limits, using the planet's atmosphere to mask his energy signature while dodging orbital weapons fire. "Captain Kang, we've been compromised," he reported over the comm. "The fleet knows we're here. I can provide fire support for another 10 minutes before we have to jump out." "Understood," Kang replied. "Make those 10 minutes count." The stealth frigate's weapons might have been limited, but they were precisely targeted. Lee used his enhanced reflexes to thread shots between the orbital bombardment beams, striking alien ground support vessels with surgical precision. Meanwhile, the shock troops continued their systematic destruction of alien ground forces. What had begun as an impossible rescue mission was becoming a complete tactical victory. The enhanced warriors were proving that human ingenuity, training, and determination could overcome any odds when properly applied. But the aliens were learning too. Thex 9 had realized that conventional tactics would not work against these enhanced humans. If he wanted to win this battle, he would have to try something desperate. "All ships prepare for atmospheric entry," he ordered. "We will land the entire fleet and overwhelm them with sheer numbers." It was exactly the kind of mistake that Earth's enhanced warriors had been trained to exploit.